Okay, now we're ready to thread our machine. First thing you want to do after you're done winding your bobbin is look at the little diagrammy thing on the top. Solid lines mean threading your machine. So you're going to take your thing and flip it over. It really doesn't matter which way the thread feeds, but I like to flip it just because it gives more tension here. So if you look at the diagram on top, it'll show you a pretty easy indication of where the thread needs to go. So you see it needs to go through here and up top. So that's what we're going to do. So just take it. I like to just hold it right here and then go up. And if you look closely, you'll see a little wire in here that is controlling the initial tension of the thread. See the little thingy? Yep. Alright, so next thing you're going to do is I think there used to be a diagram here, but then my sister or my dad covered it with a hamster. Oh well. So you're going to go down into this slot, and then you're going to lightly go through this dial here, which is the tension. I like to keep it within this middle area. And you're going to take your needle, and look over here. You're going to make sure that the needle, the little loop here is all the way up. You'll see the little loop, how it goes up and down.
Yep.
Okay, so make sure it's all the way up. So once you go down this bottom part, you're going to come back up, and you're going to go all the way to the right, and then go to the back, and then all the way to the left, and then that'll get it into that loop. Perfect. And now you're going to pull this down, and second to last part you want to make sure that you do is you're going to put it through here. And this little like staple sized piece of metal, this will help guide the thread because if you were to just thread the needle, it would be all over the place and your thread would break really bad. So you're going to take it like this and use it like dental floss and put it underneath the screw, and it'll go right in there. So now you got it in there. And now you take your little thing on the side and you bring your needle as high up as you can, because that'll make it easier to thread. So that your fingers have more room, you're going to put the foot down, and then you're going to thread your needle. I like to do it from front to back, but it really doesn't matter. I'm going to just cut it on the back so that I have a cleaner thing to thread with. And then you're going to thread your needle, if I can. Yeah, I frayed it too much. But you get the idea. So, let me wet this and see if I can get it through there. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Threading the needle is kind of annoying, but if you have one of those threaders that comes in a sewing kit, they're very useful. I think I got it. Okay. So you pull it tight, and now we're going to get the bobbin thread, and there's a really easy way to do that. So you're gonna take I like to put my foot up, and you're going to lead this back and put it through there, and then just lead the thread to the back, and then you're going to take your crank over here, and while holding on to this thread coming out, you're going to take the little knob, and you're going to push it towards yourself, like up and over, and then go down a couple times while pulling on the thread. And then, if you'll notice, it has just grabbed the bobbin thread.
I see that, yeah.
And then you can take something like, I usually use a pair of scissors, or really anything flat'll work, and you can grab your bobbin thread. So now you have your bobbin thread and your top thread. So now you can sew like a mofo, because it'll be secure. And then you lead this to the back, I like to cut this kind of short, like cut it about there. So if you wanted to use this as a guide, just
Like
cut it right there.
3 inches, okay.
It can be longer. But just when you start sewing, you're going to put your fabric down, put the foot down, and then hold on to this, because otherwise it'll get tangled.
Makes sense.
And so you do always remember when you do your first 2 stitches to hit this thing.
And reverse.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you just hold it down, it'll reverse. And do like a couple stitches back. Otherwise, there's no telling if this thing will come unraveled.
Okay.
I mean, usually it won't because it's pretty secure. But always do the backward stitches to make sure.
Okay. Sounds good. I think we're good then.
Yep. And let me show you settings.
Okay, go.
Alright, so we're going to do a quick little thing on settings. This is just where your needle's going to be, so you'll notice if you want your needle a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, it's really only used for like buttonholes and stuff like that. So just ignore this and keep it at M for middle. This knob is for how much you want your stitch to go back and forth. So the loosest stitch you could possibly do is a zigzag stitch with the biggest length. So if you put the dial all the way to the right, that'll be the biggest zigzag. And maybe just take like a piece of scrap fabric just to see like if you want like a zigzag, make sure that it's the right size of zigzag by doing it on a scrap piece, because you'll thank yourself later. So probably a good one would be 1. 1 is like a slight bit of zigzag, but not really that much. I usually keep it on 1. But if you want it like super straight, you can do 0. Now over here is the length of the stitch. If you want it super loose, you're going to want to put it all the way to 4. Because that'll give you like a stitch like about that long or so. And that'll be good for when you're doing sleeves. When she says loose stitch, you'll probably want to do maybe like, probably not a zigzag. Just put it on 0 and then set it to the biggest stitch possible. And normal would be like a 1 or a 2. Probably for sewing a garment together, I'd say do a 2, just in case you want to seam rip it. That'll make it easier. And again, use a piece of scrap fabric, just so that you know this is what it's going to look like. Can I seam rip this if it sucks? That sort of thing. So if you want to do like a 3, if you're really not sure, you could do that too. But basically, the bigger the stitch, the easier it is to fix mistakes. If it's a small stitch, it's like you're going to ruin your fabric, and it's going to be stuck like that forever. So I'm just going to set it on like 1.5. If you'll notice, like these, you can go in between numbers. You don't have to go like commit to a number. There's like a million different settings. So if you wanted to do a 1.5, that'll be right between a 1 and a 2. It's like wonderful. So just experiment and see what you want.